Today, we are going to break down a total masterclass in digital storytelling. We're looking at how Y Combinator, the launch pad for giants like Airbnb and Dropbox, completely reinvented its website. And this wasn't just a paint job. They shifted from what was basically an application portal to this powerful engine for inspiration. Let's dive in.
So this is the big question, right? How do you even start? For thousands and thousands of founders, this website is literally the first step towards their dream. The stakes just could not be higher. You're not just building a web page, you're building the front door to someone's entire future. How do you design that?
To really appreciate just how amazing the after is, we first have to understand the before. So let's pull back the curtain on the old YC homepage and see why a simple facelift was never going to cut it. This quote from one of the designers just nails it. The old site, it worked. You could click the links, they'd go to the right places. But it was all function and zero feeling. It had the soul of a generic, off-the-shelf B2B template when it needed to have the heart of a revolutionary launchpad. And just look at the difference this one change makes. The old headline, top YC companies. I mean, okay, sure, it's forgettable. But the new one? Dozens of billion-dollar companies started at YC. Whoa, now that has some serious gravity. It's specific, it's powerful, and it tells this incredible story of success in just a handful of words. The old site was just full of these narrative holes. It celebrated the company logos, but totally forgot about the actual human founders behind them. It made these vague promises without any real proof. It even wasted valuable homepage real estate talking about negatives, what YC doesn't do. It was just a list of information when it desperately needed to be an inspiring story. So realizing all this, the team developed a completely new, formidable vision. They pivoted. They decided to build a story, not just a website. Let's see how they pulled it off. And this, right here, is the strategic pivot. This is the game changer. They stopped trying to sell a program and they started trying to sell a dream. The new mission wasn't to get you to click a button. It was to inspire belief, to make every single founder who visited the site see the possibility of their own success story. And to find their new voice, they actually went back to their own roots. They dug up this one single word, formidable, from co-founder Paul Graham's original essays. It was the word he used to describe the kind of founders they wanted to back. This wasn't just some marketing buzzword. It was a piece of YC's DNA. It embedded their core values right into the new design. Okay, so having a great vision is one thing, but how do you actually translate a concept like making people dream into pixels and code on a web page? Let's get into the execution. Okay, this part is brilliant. Instead of just showing shiny, successful logos, they show the founder's entire journey. You see a picture of them at the very start, scrappy, hungry, totally relatable, and then you see them after their success. It's this incredibly powerful visual that just screams, these giants started exactly where you are right now. It's all about creating that, hey, this could be me connection. They also realized something crucial. The most powerful voice on their website wasn't their own. So instead of having YC describe the experience, they let recent founders do it. They wove together all these different quotes from alumni, and it created this narrative that felt so much more authentic, more credible, and in the end, way more persuasive. Now check out this super clever piece of design. How do you prove that all your partners were once founders themselves? You don't just write it in a paragraph. You show it. When you hover your mouse over a partner's current photo, it reveals a picture of them from their own YC batch years ago. It's playful, it's memorable, and it instantly proves a core truth. We've been in your shoes. Now, the final website is incredible, no doubt, but the way they built it might be even more revolutionary. They didn't follow the typical design playbook at all. They brought in an AI teammate. This table really shows just how different their whole process was. See, traditionally, designers create this perfect static picture of a website in a tool like Figma, and then they kind of toss it over the wall to the engineers to build. Well, the YC team just skipped that whole step. They went from a rough idea, like a mood board, straight into a live, working prototype using an AI editor. And that meant they could play with real animations and interactions from day one, focusing on the story, not just the static layout. And get this, they didn't just use the AI to write code. They treated it like a creative coworker. They'd feed it a bunch of information and give it a really open-ended prompt, something like, display this creatively. And yeah, sometimes the results were terrible, but other times the AI would spit out the kernel of an idea they could then build on, an idea they might never have thought of on their own. And this is the key benefit of that whole new process. By letting the AI handle the more grunt work coding tasks, it freed up the human designers to focus their time and brain power on the higher level stuff. How can this animation help tell a story? How can this interaction make our message more impactful? It really elevated their role from just being implementers to being true creative directors. So, after breaking all this down, the before, the after, and the process, what's the big takeaway here? What does the YC redesign really tell us about the future? For me, it all comes down to this. Great design, I mean truly exceptional design, is about so much more than just optimizing for a button click. It's about crafting a narrative. The new YC website isn't trying to trick you into applying. It's trying to inspire you to believe that you can build something formidable. It sells the dream, not just the program. And that really leaves us with this fascinating and kind of huge question for the future. As AI becomes less of a simple tool and more of a creative partner, what does the job of a human designer even become? Maybe it's less about pushing pixels and more about being a storyteller, a director, and a visionary who guides both human and machine talent to create something that's truly inspiring. Definitely something to think about.